So I'm going to get my COVID shot tomorrow, and it's going to be Johnson & Johnson. And the reason I'm doing that is I'm not too hip on the idea of Pfizer and Moderna's RNA, which is a new technology, and I don't want that in my body. I'd rather go with Johnson & Johnson, which is based on a more traditional vaccine platform. It's adenovirus, which is chimpanzee related stuff, so it's been used before and more understood. Now they do have the situation with the blood clotting, which is very few. It was like 8 people out of 7 million or something. How many million? I can't remember. Anyway, it was a big number. So very small percentage of people. But I looked up how to prevent blood clots, and one thing is you don't want to sit too long, more than an hour stretch without moving around, and you don't want to stand up for more than an hour at a time without sitting. So you got to move around a little bit and then rest, move around a little bit more. But 4 of the things that they tell you to use to prevent blood clots is, one of them is turmeric, and the other is ginger and garlic and cayenne pepper. So I bought some things from the grocery store that I'm going to be taking for the next 3 weeks, which is the period of time that you could be affected by potential blood clots with the J&J vaccine. So I got me some Texas toast with garlic, and this is Pepperidge Farm. I got some Tazo turmeric bliss, which is tea, I guess, herbal tea. I'll be drinking that. And I got these anise ginger Swedish thins, which are like little cookies, I guess. And I got some Frank's Red Hots original made with cayenne pepper. So all these things I'm going to do in conjunction with my shot recovery, and I just want to show you this in case you wanted to try it too. Hello, so I'm going to tell you about my experience so far with the J&J COVID-19 vaccine. I got mine yesterday at 10 a.m. and I didn't feel anything side effect wise for many hours until 8 p.m. in the evening. And then I had in one eye at the top right a shimmering vibration kind of thing in the upper right corner of my right eye's vision. And that kind of bothered me for a minute, because you hear all the news about the handful of people that got blood clots, and I thought, well, is that what that is? And after looking it up, I realized that that is what's called an ocular migraine. It lasted only for about 15 minutes maybe, and then it went away. I never got a major headache with it, but a slight headache with it. And at the beginning of that period is when I had a little bit of my feelings of being sick from the vaccine. I have a blood pressure cuff here that I use when I feel a little bit off, and I'm recommending that to everyone, that if you don't have a blood pressure cuff at home, you should have one. So I routinely check it if I feel a little off. So after the ocular migraine, I checked it, and the top part of my blood pressure was a little bit elevated for a minute. And then a few minutes later, I ran it again because my pulse was a little elevated also. And then about 15 minutes after that, my blood pressure dropped a little low on the bottom to 60, which is not bad, but that's where you start to feel a little bit maybe lightheaded, when it gets to the 60s on the bottom. That passed after a few minutes, and it was already pushing 9 o'clock by this point, so then I went to bed and slept pretty good. The only things I noticed through my sleep was that my arm that I had the shot in was slightly sore, and it was pretty much most of the arm down to about my wrist area, so like a muscle aches. And then I had also in the right arm muscle aches, but only in the shoulder region. Other than that, that was about it for the whole night. I got up at 2 o'clock because I was sweating, so there was a little bit of sweating. I got up at 2 and I took my temperature, which again, another thing you should have here at the house is a temperature reader. I've got the temporal reader and also an inner ear reader, because sometimes they don't jive so well, but most of the time they're both pretty consistent. So my temperature was around 100.5. So I got up for an hour and a half. I drank a Gatorade and I set up, and an hour and a half later I felt much better, went back to sleep, and by morning I had no fever. I've had no fever all day today. It's now 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the day after receiving my shot, and I have just a low-grade headache, and the muscle aches are, let's see, pretty much gone. My left arm where the shot was, I got a little bit of muscle ache just in that region, and I still have a very slight headache. But other than that, I would say pretty mild symptoms so far, and I'm only making this part of the video because time is of the essence with the president just speaking about getting vaccinated and people's interest being up about the J&J and other vaccines. So I'll be releasing later summaries of my progress down the road, and I also wanted to make mention of these products that I bought, which I are going to include a segment in this video. These taste delicious. These Anna's Ginger Swedish Thins. They have ginger in them, they're great, and that actually will help prevent blood clots. This is also great, this Tazo Turmeric Bliss, delicious. Turmeric also reduces chance of blood clots. I did not have the garlic bread yet, so I can't speak to that, but I'm sure it's great. And the hot sauce that has the cayenne pepper in it was great. I had it on a breakfast burrito around lunchtime, and just tasted great. So if you do have concerns of blood clots, I highly recommend that you get some of these other products and drink a lot of fluids. Other than that, that's my update.